Hey guys, it's Dustin. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out as always. Today we have a pre-IOC format match between Ben and I. I rolled a 12 and he rolls a 6. I'm going to go first. Well, let's get started. This is a pre-IOC format, so nothing released after March 1st, 2004 when IOC was released. I start off with Painful Choice. I get to search my deck for 5 cards, reveal them to my opponent. He has to pick one to add to my hand, the rest go to the graveyard. I pick Jinzo, Slate Warrior, Exiled Force, Magical Scientist, and Sinister Serpent. And he's going to give me the Sinister Serpent. I activate Graceful Charity. Lets me draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. Obviously the Sinister Serpent is going to be one of those because it's a free discard fodder every turn. And I'm going to discard Reflect Bounder as the other card. Then I activate Confiscation, pay 1,000 life points to look at his hand, and I get to pick a card from it and discard it. I take a while to think about it, but I eventually go with Graceful Charity. He has Pot and Graceful in his hand, by the way. I know Pot of Greed is more of a net card advantage, but I don't want him to dig that deep into his deck. So I summon Witch of the Black Forest and set 2 cards to the back row and pass. And I summoned it instead of set it because he had Nolan Across out in his hand. He activates Pot of Greed at the start of his turn. And then he summons Don Zalug. And he goes to attack, and I use Ring of Destruction, which destroys Don Zalug and does 1,400 damage to both of us. He ends his turn. I draw. In the standby phase, I get Sinister Serpent back to my hand. And then I go ahead and declare an attack with Witch of the Black Forest for 11. And then I set another card to the back row and pass. Ben draws for turn. I'm not sure why he was shuffling his hand right here. I don't know if he didn't want me to know where certain cards in his hand were, but it's whatever. Good old T set, pass. I draw for turn. I activate Regeki, which destroys Mystic Tomato, and attack with Witch of the Black Forest. I was hoping he had set Fiber Jar. He draws for turn. And he sets another monster and a face down and passes. After a long thought session, I eventually flip up my set Heavy Storm to at least get a 1-for-1 trade out of it. I hit his Torrential and Ring of Destruction, and I hit my Torrential. I activate Change of Heart, still hoping to hit the Fiber Jar. No dice. I flip up the Sinister Serpent that I took from him. And I declare an attack for 1,400 with both monsters. And I set a card and pass the Sinister back to him. He draws for turn. He switches the Sinister to defense and sets a monster. And he passes back to me. I go ahead and draw for turn. And after thinking for a little bit, I go ahead and summon Tribe Infecting Virus.
Oh, wait, it's Aqua?
No, it's Reptile.
It's Reptile! Shut up!
I made you say it, though. Made you say it.
And then I activate Premature Burial after that hilarious exchange to get back Magical Scientist. Which I end up getting Fiend Skull Dragon because it negates flip effect monsters. I'm positive I have him on Fiber Jar now. So I attack with the Fiend Skull, which is the Fiber Jar, which is negated, and then attack for exact gain with the rest of them. We're going to go ahead and get on to game 2. Ben's going to opt to go first, as he should. And he starts off with Delinquent Duo. So he pays 1,000 life points and he gets to pick a random card from my hand to discard. And then I have to select one of the remaining cards to discard. And he hit Yata-Garasu out of my hand. It's pretty good, Ben. And I discard Slate Warrior. So he sets a monster in 2 back row, passes the turn, and he drops off my Forceful Sentry so I can't return the favor. I go ahead and activate Painful Choice. So I get Jinzo, Magical Scientist, Sinister Serpent, Exiled Force, and Graceful Charity. And, of course, he puts the Sinister in my hand, because he doesn't want to give me a free card. I set a monster, and pass back to him. And he ends up flip summoning Witch of the Black Forest, activating Torrential. He definitely read the Magician of Faith. When I got rid of Graceful Charity off Painful Choice, it was pretty obvious. He searches his deck for Yata. I'll bet y'all miss that card, don't you? And he summons Yata and attacks directly for 200. Locking me out of my draw phase, and passes back. I summon Witch of the Black Forest, get in direct for 1100, since that's literally my only move. He draws, summons Slate Warrior, and attacks over the Witch of the Black Forest, and I get to search my deck for a monster with 1500 defense or less. And I get Tribe Infecting Virus. I draw for turn. Sorry to disappoint you, but we're not going to have a repeat of last time. I know what Slate Warrior is. He's a fiend. So I discard Sinister Serpent and get in direct for 1600. Then summons Donzalug, activates Premature Burial to get back Slate Warrior. Attacks over Tribe with Slate Warrior, attacks with Donzalug, and discards the last card out of my hand, which is Injection Fairy Lily. I draw, get back Sinister, activate Confiscation, Lucky Top Deck to get rid of that Yata-Garasu. But at this point I'm low in cards and low in life, it's probably not going to matter. He also had Breaker and Mirage Nightmare in his hand. Summons Breaker, attacks with Donzalug, because he knows it's Sinister, attacks directly for 3800. Put me down to 500. I draw for turn, get back Sinister, and I just scoop it up because I've seen enough. Let's get into game 3. I'm going to go ahead and go first. And I open pretty good. I activate Confiscation to look at Ben's hand. After thinking about it for a while, I decide to go for the Confiscation, and I activate Forceful Sentry to get rid of the Mystic Tomato in his hand. I picked that instead of the Reaper because Reaper is not a good premature burial target, and Mirror Force is easy to deal with. Go ahead and set a monster and pass. And sets a monster and 2 back row. He activates drop off in my draw phase to hit my Mirage of Nightmare, which I wasn't too thrilled with. I go ahead and flip summon Exiled Force and Tribute to destroy the Spirit Reaper. And I didn't really want to set the Cyber Jar because there's definite risk of giving him 5 free cards during his turn. But my hand wasn't that great right there. I mean, I have Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster, so it's good, but not good enough to not set Cyber Jar. I was going to need some cards too. Luckily, he just passes. I activate Harpy's Feather Duster, and I top deck Yata, which is pretty dumb right there. And he activates Monster Born on Spirit Reaper. And I show him the Raigeki that I already had, summon Yata, set MST, and he activates Premature Burial on Spirit Reaper, which doesn't do anything, but he was just being funny. So that's the end of the match because Ben got Yata locked. Because Yata-Garasu is dumb. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you hanging out again. As always, go ahead and subscribe. That would be awesome. And we'll see you next time.